Mr Speaker.
I call the Honourable Peter Dunn.
Mr Speaker, yesterday I announced the decision to put a Gazette notice out in respect of 3 further synthetic drug products likely to be synthetic cannabinoids under the changes to the Misuse of Drugs Act that were passed by this House in August. And I wanted to take some time this afternoon to explain what's going on here and what the next steps in this process are. Mr Speaker, at the time that we put the changes through the House, with the cooperation, I acknowledge, of just about every party bar the Greens, they were to stop what is becoming a significant problem in New Zealand with regard to psychoactive designer drugs, synthetic cannabinoids, etc., and to give us an interim regime prior to putting in place the recommendations of the Law Commission next year, which would shift the onus of proof to suppliers and manufacturers to demonstrate that products are safe before they could come onto the market. In the wake of that original piece of legislation, I gazetted some 16 items which effectively removed 43 products from the shelves at that time. And despite what some now say proves the failure of the legislation in that we've had to act again, I made the point then that this would be part of an ongoing campaign, and that if anyone doubted our determination, they merely had to test it. Because the suggestion was that you ban this sort of range of products, then a new variant arises, you ban that, and you keep on going and you keep on going. And one day someone would run out of energy. Well, Mr Speaker, yesterday's decisions demonstrated we're not about to run out of energy. If the industry thinks it can reformulate, change names, repackage, do whatever, welcome to doing so. But we will catch you and we will put in place the mechanisms to take those products off the shelves every time until the permanent legislation is in place around the middle of next year. But, Mr Speaker, there's another dimension to this, and I want to say this very clearly, because I think it will make it more difficult for those seeking to thwart the provisions of the amendment bill. The exercise that led to yesterday's decision was the interception of material at the border. In other words, it was not product that was being distributed commercially already. It had been intercepted by customs and police prior to getting to the point where it was available for distribution. So that makes it that little bit more difficult for the suppliers here to get their supplies in, to reformulate them and to put them out on the market. And I am appalled by the determination of this industry to carry on despite our equal determination to be better or to match them in that respect. And my strong advice to them today is to stop testing our patience, because we are determined, we are diligent, and we're going to stop every intervention that we find. And the sooner they get the message on that respect, the better. Mr Speaker, up and down New Zealand, there are parents, there are teachers, there are community leaders very concerned about this issue. And they have little tolerance for those who are seen, or they believe are seeking to be seen, at the edge of the law, trying to manipulate it and twist it in this way. And I think there's little tolerance in this House for that sort of behaviour also. That was evident during the earlier debate that we had. But yesterday's decision was a wake-up call to those people that we are on the job, where we become aware of products or substances that are being manipulated in such a way to try and get around the prohibition, then we will act. And we will act quickly, and those products will be off the shelves within a matter of days. Mr Speaker, that is important for the people of New Zealand, because there is a concern about what was seen to be an uncontrolled spread of these types of products. But I want to make this point in addition. I have received a lot of correspondence from people saying, it's all very well that you're cracking down in this area. What about alcohol and tobacco? They are far more serious dangers to public health in New Zealand. Why aren't you applying the same vigilance to those products? Well, the answer is very simple. In the case of alcohol, we have legislation before this House at the moment that moderates the conditions under which alcohol is made available and supplied, and that is the appropriate course of action to take. In the case of tobacco, there's a whole raft of legislative interventions that have been made over the years by my colleague to my immediate left, the Honourable Tariana Turia, most latterly, and they control the use and the spread of that product. To say that because those items are on a different regime we should not take a strong action regarding synthetic drugs, I think is an irresponsible point that completely misses the point at issue. So, Mr Speaker, I want to make the point we are vigilant and we will continue to be so.
Mr Speaker.
I call